Does your child lack motivation to learn? Does your child often get bored doing schoolwork? Do you want your child to be entrepreneurial, well-rounded, self-sufficient, and creative? Well, I'm Daniel. Welcome to Round Edge. We are all about inspiring students to improve, initiate, and innovate. In this video, I want to share my core teaching beliefs with you, my teaching philosophy. Everything I do is based on these core beliefs. And then I want to share my teaching methodology, which is based on my core beliefs. And then finally, I want to share my offer to you. The way I teach comes from three core beliefs. Number one, I believe in continually getting out of your comfort zone. Number two, I believe in active, hands-on learning. And number three, I believe in learning as much as you can about as much as you can. Let's focus on belief one first. I believe in continually getting out of your comfort zone. I want to share a story with you. It was my freshman year in college. I hated giving public speeches. I couldn't stand giving speeches in front of people. But as a freshman in college, I had to take a public speaking course, and I was terrified. I can still remember walking up to the lectern, getting ready to deliver my first 3-minute introduction speech, which I thought was going to take an eternity. I was absolutely scared, and I was shaking so much that it was as if I was going to knock the lectern over into my audience. Well, it was not a pleasant situation, but after my speech was over, I knew I had a decision to make. I could either continue to be terrified of public speaking and run away from my fear, avoid giving as many public speeches as possible, or I could face my fear and try to rise above and overcome my comfort zone, which was not giving speeches. So I did not want to be dominated by my fear of public speaking for the rest of my life. So I decided to minor in public speaking. Believe it or not, yes, this is true. I signed up for as many speeches or as many public speaking courses as I could. I signed up for an acting course, an interpretive speech course, a higher level public speaking course, and then eventually, as a sophomore, the next year, I signed up for a graduate level course in persuasion with great speakers. Now, I would like to tell you that I very quickly started making improvement and that I didn't make many mistakes and that I didn't have many embarrassing moments, but this is not true. I made lots of mistakes, improvement was very slow, and I did have difficult and embarrassing situations when I was giving speeches. So it took a long time to improve. After college, I joined Toastmasters, which is an international speaking organization. I gave several speeches for that organization. And I started to teach at my church and in my church's youth ministry. And you know what? Over time, I started to improve. I saw improvement. My skills got better, and my fear became less. But even today, I can't tell you that I make no mistakes in public speaking. I do. I still get nervous. I absolutely still get nervous. But I'm a lot better today than I used to be as a freshman in that public speaking course. And this is because I chose to face my fear and get out of my comfort zone. So the question is, to improve or not to improve? If you want to improve, you have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. You have to be willing to face your fear. If your student or child is fearful of a certain thing, or if they do not want to get out of their comfort zone in a certain area, if they're avoiding something, that is a very good indication that they need help to get out of that comfort zone, or they could be dominated by that fear for a long time. Now, a lot of people think that, well, if I start doing something, I should improve really quickly. But this is unrealistic. Most of the time, it takes time to improve. So you should always go for continuous improvement, step-by-step improvement. And this requires taking risks. It requires getting out of your comfort zone and facing your fear. And it also requires making mistakes. Believe it or not, yes, making mistakes and learning from your mistakes. Lots of people think that if I make a mistake, I failed. And lots of people never try something new again if they make a mistake because they had that embarrassing situation or they don't want to be embarrassed again. But mistakes are part of life, and mistakes can actually be huge blessings if you learn from your mistakes. Winston Churchill is one of my favorite leaders. He led Great Britain during a very dark time of history during World War II. He was a very interesting and successful person, but you know what? He did a lot of hard things and he experienced a lot of very difficult things. Successful people tend to do hard things. It's very rare that someone succeeds without going through difficult things. So Churchill definitely had difficult experiences. Successful people tend to not let mistakes cripple them. Churchill did all kinds of interesting things. He played polo, a very dangerous sport. He was a war correspondent when he was a young man, saw lots of very difficult things. He was very brave during those times. He excavated his property building a man-made lake. He built buildings. He made a butterfly garden. He was a very successful leader, but he made lots of mistakes. But Churchill never let his mistakes cripple him. He persisted. Successful people tend to persist through difficulty and through their mistakes. Success comes not by avoiding difficulty or adversity. It comes through difficult situations, and it comes through adversity. So Churchill definitely demonstrated in his life rising above difficult situations, learning from his mistakes, and facing his fears, and always getting out of his comfort zone. Churchill, in a very famous speech, said, "Never give in, never give in, never, 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 in nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in, except to convictions of honor and good sense." Belief 2, I believe in active hands-on learning. The Google engineer who created Google Glass said something very interesting. He said, "Doing is the best kind of thinking." During a speech in which he was talking to many students, he asked them how long they thought it took him to make the first model or prototype of Google Glass. Many thought it took him days or just a long time, but he astonished everyone by saying he built a model in 45 minutes. This engineer has lots of experience doing things. He doesn't analyze everything to death before he acts. So he has lots of insight into the power of just doing things. And you never know. A whole world can open up if you start building and doing. Active hands-on learning has many benefits. It increases motivation to learn. When a child is building something or doing something or making something, they see the fruit of their labor, and what they're making becomes theirs. So this increases motivation. It helps you really learn. When you're doing something, you're not just using your brain, you're not just passively learning something, you're using your hands and you're using your senses. So this can really help you retain and learn. And really importantly, active hands-on projects build a problem-solving lifestyle. Successful people tend to be great problem solvers. So when you start doing things, you're building into yourself a habit of problem solving, which is very important for building a business or writing or inventing or pretty much any field that your child chooses. Belief 3, I believe in learning as much as you can about as much as you can. The Creativity Research Journal said something really interesting. It indicated this: diverse experiences produce divergent thinking. In other words, more mental inputs, the more knowledge, varied knowledge that goes into your head, this provides greater potential creativity because you have a wider array of mental connections, or you have a greater ability to make different mental connections because you have lots of different knowledge in your head. So diverse experiences produce divergent or creative thinking. This was confirmed in an article by the Fast Company called The Secret to Creativity: Become an Intellectual Middleman, written by Laura Vanderkam. There was a section in this article called Seek Out New Experiences. The article said you can't combine ideas from disparate or different fields if you're not cognizant of disparate or different fields. So the more you know in different areas, the more experiences you have, the more ability you have to make connections and to be creative and innovative. The Renaissance man, Leonardo da Vinci, was a very creative, successful, and brilliant person. A Renaissance man means that this person did all kinds of different things. He was an expert in all kinds of different areas. He was a botanist, he was an artist, an inventor, a builder. He did all kinds of really interesting things, and he was able to be very creative. You can see this drawing that Leonardo da Vinci drew of a flying machine hundreds of years before people would actually fly. So he was very creative. One reason was because he knew a lot of different things and he had lots of different experiences. An inventor that I recently talked to, a very fascinating individual who is also a modern-day Renaissance man, he advocates this approach of learning as many things as you can so that you can be more creative in the future. So you are more likely to think outside the box if you have a greater ability to make a wider array of mental connections. Well, so what? What's the big deal? Well, I believe in continually getting out of your comfort zone because I believe this is crucial for you to improve in anything. I believe in active hands-on learning because I believe this is vital for you to initiate, to do things, to take action, to have successes and accomplishments. And I believe in learning as much as you can about as much as you can because this is one of the keys to being innovative and creative in the future. Well, my teaching method is based on these core beliefs. I believe to inspire students to improve, initiate, and innovate, they must be continually challenged to get out of their comfort zones and explore new experiences. This is why I challenge students to get out of their comfort zones with active hands-on projects in a wide array of subjects. Now let me continue on my teaching methodology. The goal is to make your student or students well-rounded, entrepreneurial, self-sufficient, and creative so that they can solve problems and help many people. I like to say it this way: well-rounded students with an edge. You can visualize it this way with the Mobius strip. If you look at the Mobius strip closely, you could put your finger on it and put your finger all the way around it, travel all the way around the Mobius strip, and come back to the original place without taking your finger off. And that's because this Mobius strip is actually one continuous side. So think about it this way. All these different facets on the Mobius strip represent the different mental inputs, the knowledge, the different experiences that your student can gain. And these contribute to a well-roundedness, which contributes to an edge or innovation and more creativity. Now you may be thinking, well, how on earth am I going to do this? I don't have time to teach all kinds of different subjects to my students. Well, my offer to you is this. I've created 30 courses packed with hands-on projects designed to inspire students to improve, initiate, and innovate. Here are 1/3 of the courses that I have made. There are many more. Students are going to learn about insects and spiders, birds, filmmaking, photography, geology, food science, art, plants and gardening, space and space exploration, and they're going to learn about camping and backpacking. This is not passive learning. There are lots of projects, hands-on projects in these courses. So students are going to learn how to preserve and display insects, how to care for birds, how to make a film, how to take really interesting and creative photographs, how to do geology. They're going to act like a real geologist. They're going to prepare meals like a chef. They're going to make art. They're going to make their own gardens. They're going to make a robot. And students are going to learn how to be self-sufficient in the outdoors. So lots of opportunities to improve, initiate, and innovate. These 30 courses are divided into 5 academic years. So each academic year, each main course will have 6 of these courses in them. Well, you can learn more about the courses on the course pages below. I really look forward to helping your students improve, initiate, and innovate so that they can become entrepreneurial, well-rounded, self-sufficient, and creative so that they can solve many problems and help many people.